This video is going to explain what is MCP for N8N Beginners. If you don't care too much about the theory or the science and want a more practical guide and understand MCP in the context of production-ready workflows for a business, this video is going to be for you. If you don't know me, my name is Jeet. I run an AI agency that helps companies streamline their operations and use AI to automate the boring work. I do this every single day, and I'm hoping I can give you a more practical sense about this concept that's been blowing up on YouTube. To really understand what MCP is, you need to understand what exactly it's replacing in the first place. I think that's where a lot of people get confused. So to really just break things down and kind of start off from the beginning, when OpenAI came out with ChatGPT 3.5 or whatever it was, we just had a simple chatbot. In the context of N8N, that would look like having a simple chat window that's connected to an AI agent that's connected to just one LLM, and that's it, right? There's no other tools or anything fancy like that. So when I ask hi, I just get a simple answer back. This was a big deal because it was the first time that a computer could act like a human. But eventually people realized that we don't just have to stay in this chat window. We can actually do stuff with this LM just like a real human would. So for example, if I go over here, we have the idea of an agent, right? What is an agent? It's fundamentally an LM that's connecting to different programs and actually doing stuff like creating a Google Calendar event, creating a Google Doc, making an Airtable record, right? This is stuff before that only a human could do. In terms of N8N, this is what we're doing right now. We have a chat message with an AI agent and an OpenAI chat model, but we're connecting different tools, and those tools do stuff, right? Like the AI agent decides whether we want to create a Google Calendar, make an Airtable record, or a Google Doc based on what I as a user ask in the chat window. The important part here, and this is probably the most important part of this video, is you've never really asked yourself, why is it that when I make this Google Calendar module and I connect it to this tool, it somehow works, right? It somehow finds the right module between these three tools, or if I've got 10 tools, it finds the right one, and then it makes the actual request, and it's a success. Like how does that actually work on the back end? We don't really ask ourselves that because we assume that it's going to work. This is the concept of abstraction, and this is super important to the explanation of MCP. I'm not trying to throw fancy words at you guys for no reason, but we're assuming, like we're telling N8N, I don't care how you guys do this thing of making this circle and connecting to this tool. If it works, I'm happy, right? That's fundamentally what we're saying. We don't directly tell N8N that, but that's what we're agreeing to by using this tool. In the backend, if you guys actually care what's going on real quick, is it's not magic, of course, right? There is some like real logic, custom code going on here. Is the LM is first determining what tool to use. So among all of these tools here, is going to first determine which tool should I pick. Next is going to create an API request that's actually going to send to Google Calendar saying like, hey, this person has requested for making an event at this time on this day with this name and this description, right? That's nothing but this over here. The summary, the location, the start time, the end time. And don't get too hung up on this if you don't fully understand what an API or any of this is, but this is the stuff that's going on in the back end. And then when that's done, it's sending that to Google Calendar, and then we get the check mark here. This is Airtable, but you guys get the idea, saying that that request is complete, and that's how this full thing works. But notice, you never had to actually know that this was going on in the back end. We just assumed that it was going to work. Taking that very same concept here, and just hang with me for a second. If I put this down here, all MCP is instead of saying, hey N8N, figure out how to get this AI agent to connect to this Google Calendar, Airtable, or Google Docs, we're going to let another module, an MCP module, decide how these connections are made. On the left side, the old way here, we're connecting Google Calendar and these tools directly to the AI agent. In the new way, we're connecting an MCP module to the AI agent. So we're giving the responsibility of connecting these tools to this MCP module here instead of N8N. I want to emphasize here that this is not some kind of new AI, this is not some kind of new technology. This is just a different way to build AI agent that's supposed to be more scalable and more effective. And I'm going to go into what that actually means in a second. But the new way of doing things is going to be having our regular N8N modules just as before that's connected to an MCP module. And this MCP module here is going to have all the stuff we used to do here before. So it's going to have creating a Google Calendar event, creating a Google Doc, creating an Airtable record, and it's probably going to have some kind of LLM in the back end to actually decide which one to pick. That's it. That's all MCP is. And at this point, you might be a little confused and wondering, how does taking all these tools and putting it into one module, why is that such a big deal? Why is every YouTube video trending about this topic? I'll tell you why. I think the real value of something like MCP is actually for the custom code folks, not for us N8N folks. And the reason why you guys can see this is because think about it if you had to build this from scratch, right? N8N's kind of doing this for us, but if I wanted to make a custom code program that is connected to Google Calendar, to Airtable, to Google Docs, I have to write the code for every single one of them. I have to look in the documentation for every new program, every new tool I want to add, figure out how their API requests work, and then connect it together, debug it. Like that whole process, it takes a long time. For us N8N users, we again just kind of take it for granted that having this Google Calendar module is gonna work, right? So for us, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but for the people building things from scratch, this is a huge deal because similar to how right now for us, we can just make these tools and drag and drop it. For them, they can just drag and drop an MCP module and they won't drag and drop it, right? They'll spin up a server with MCP on it and they can just assume that the connection is already made. So I see a lot of videos online talking about how before you had to like make all these tools and like they kind of line up 20 different tools, even though like 90% of use cases you don't need all those tools, and they kind of just put it all into one thing and act like having like 20 different tools and merging into one is going to be a big thing. I'm going to be the first person to say it is not that hard to set up a Google Calendar module. With all of that being said, I think we still get some benefit. Like it is going to save us some time in terms of setting up these modules. I think it's very minuscule personally, but it's there. I think the real value is having a company like Claude, when they're building these MCP servers, they're going to have prompts in there that are production grade, battle tested to pick the right tool. Oftentimes within N8N, depending on the question, depending on how you set it up, you will have to put in a custom prompt so that it picks the right tool. Now we're giving that responsibility, that ownership, that abstraction to a company with real software developers that are doing this for a living. That should improve our performance when we're building out N8N workflows. The last thing I want to leave you off with is that by using MCP, we are losing control for the better or the worse. So if there's a situation where you need to make a custom edit, so let me kind of put it to you guys this way. If I wanted to go into this Google Calendar and change the way that it connects to this tools module with an AI agent, I can't do that. I have to assume if I'm using N8N, this is the way it is and I can't change it. Very similar idea with MCP. That lack of control, that abstraction, that ownership, giving that to them, that's a benefit because we don't have to worry about how it's being done. But if you want to do something custom, we can't do that. The point is, if you want control, do not use MCP. We're using MCP to give away control in return for speed and things being set up. But if you want to do something custom, which for a lot of N8N workflows, we have to do things from scratch for it to actually make sense for a business owner, it just might not be the best fit. That's going to be it on my side. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more N8N AI tutorials just like this. And if you want to know how to use N8N to scrape Google Maps, watch this video up here.